Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan, and I'm glad that you're watching our show. I usually say, whether you're watching it live or listening to it later, this is a pre-record, so you will definitely be listening to this later. But also remember, you can always listen to it on any of the channels for podcasts. We're on Spotify and Amazon and all kinds of places.
Yeah, and we are very happy you're here.
Yes.
Shoot us an email if you want to make any comments, in between shows, whatever.
We'll make sure the author gets them.
Right, carternovels@aol.com. Want to remind everybody this coming, can you believe it's mid-November already?
No.
Crazy. Almost Thanksgiving. Episode Rewind is coming up this coming Saturday, and that's November 18th. That'll be Ronald E. Yates. And that was a good episode. I remember that one. Then next Wednesday, we have Dr. Emra Hall. That's also a pre-recorded new episode. It's the day before Thanksgiving. So that should be interesting. Want to remind everybody about the podcasts, Book World, The Great Escape podcast. And you find that on YouTube at CJ Peterson. And the Voice of Indie podcast with Beam Weeks and Gary G's. And that's on Blog Talk Radio. But you can find that at the end of our show, we run a little spot for them, and it tells you exactly how to get over to that. And it's immediately following this show.
Exactly.
So that's basically all the news I have right now, since it's a
pre-recorded
show, so I don't have much else here. And so why don't we welcome our guest?
Oh, definitely.
Hello, Joseph.
Howdy. How are you?
We're great. How are you?
I'm not going to say I'm great, but I'm pretty substantial,
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling well. The last time we chatted, we talked about pizzas.
Yes.
And we talked about, I think it was Joe Conjal, as a matter of fact, said he wanted me to include a pizza in the next novel. Yes. Well, not this novel we're talking about today, but we are making pizzas, even as we talk here. The dough is rising. So
there you go.
And as we told you just before we started recording, we recently bought a pizza oven. Burnt the first two.
2 throwaways.
Yes.
That wasn't too bad.
2 throwaways, but then we were golden.
Well, truth be told, we did eat. I ate most of mine, even though it was a little burned.
Yeah, you got to. Hey, this is the only way you can tell. Yep.
The top wasn't burned. Just the bottom. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because everything I read while reading about it was everybody burnt the first couple, and I was like,
yeah.
It's
kind of like the checklist. Yeah. Burn first 2, check. Okay, we're good. We can go now. Yeah.
But it's the best. It really is the best.
Yes.
I know you talked about white pizzas, and our grandson makes those all the time. When we were over at his house the other day, he made a white one.
You're gonna have to excuse yourself and go
eat your pizza
while we're in the middle of the show, right?
Yeah.
So you've been really busy since the last time you were on. You've had like 2 books come out, right?
2 more books published since we were last together. Yes.
Since Empty Sky, we talked about Empty Sky the last time.
Yep.
What came up next after Empty Sky?
After Empty Sky, we put up The Inheritors, which is literally my first completely new novel in 7 years at this point. And it's gotten a lot of very mixed reviews. I'll be very honest.
Oh,
The one thing that is consistent in all the reviews is that my writing is outstanding. People make comments such as, his character development is amazing. He is a master of dialogue. So that's consistent, whether I get 5-star or 1-star. The 1-star reviews tend to be from people who do not like the book's take on religion.
oh,
Okay.
So,
well, that'll
okay,
do it.
all right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah,
entitled to an opinion.
exactly. I have, and funny because I shared one of the first comments that came out on the book with a group of other authors. And one part of the review was very specific about something that I wrote in the book. And I don't want to run the risk of offending your audience. But all the authors were saying, that would make me want to buy the book. Are you kidding? I'd have to get the book now just to see if what they said was true. Said, good. Yeah. Okay. I'll take that. Yeah. So that was The Inheritors. And it's doing well enough, as an indie author, we kind of, slow climb to the top or to the side, whatever. Yeah. And then after that, most recently was The Shaman, which was many, many years in the making. Somebody asked me how many years it took me to write the book, because it's like 770 pages. I said 68 years.
Yeah.
So it's been, yeah.
What is The Shaman about? I mean, I suppose it's about a shaman.
Well, see, now the main character would never call himself that.
I get
because
that.
one of the things he is taught is, and there's a chapter in here called Grandmother Pavarti. And he says to her at one point, after he's been studying with her for a summer, he says, "You are a very powerful shaman." And she laughs. She says, "No, I'm not." And he says, "I've seen what you can do." "Yes, you are." And she goes, "No, I'm not." And then she explains to him, "I can do what I can do because the spirits let me. The spirits use me to do things. If I was a gifted pianist and I lost my hands, would I still be a gifted pianist? I may be able to teach music, but I wouldn't be able to play the piano. So I'm not one unless people come to me to be one. That's it." And in the chapter, she then looks kind of off to the side, kind of like, and she says, "But my teachers, they were really powerful shamans." And they both start cracking up, Yeah, sure. So, yeah, so he would never call himself one. He makes it a point whenever somebody says that to him. "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." But yeah, it's the story of a young boy who is basically, lack of a better term, he's cast out by his parents. His parents don't want anything to do with him. And his grandparents basically adopt him. And his grandparents are also students of gematria from over in Italy and the Mediterranean region. And they studied all over the world. So they began training him. And it turns out that he's an adept. He's just a natural. The universe flows through him. So it's about everything he learns from his grandparents. That's the first section, his childhood. Then there's adolescence, when his grandparents die and he has to go back and live with his parents, and they just deny everything that he's been taught. They literally beat it out of him. And yet he can't stop doing these things. So it goes from he's probably 9 or 10 years old all the way up through to post or just out of college, which is when he realizes, no, this is what I'm supposed to do, but I have no idea how to do it anymore. My grandfather introduced me to people, but where are they? And of course, now that he is ready, when the student is willing, the teacher will be there. They begin all over the place. He realizes that the ones who are really adept, They're your neighbors next door. They're, down the street. They're the garbage men. They're the gardeners. They're, you don't have to be quote unquote, with a big degree. You just have to be willing to learn. So that's the teachers section. And then there's the practice session. And if you'd like, I'd be reading a chapter out of that section, which is when he's now on his own, practicing, doing what he's been trained to do, and still learning. And then the last section is ending.
You said gematria, which is, I've never heard of that. That's in Italy?
No, gematria is a discipline.
Okay, what is it?
It's if you combined feng shui with Kabbalah, the numerology of Kabbalah, and just an appreciation for the natural energies of the world. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So metaphysical.
Combine those two. Yep, exactly. Those would be gematria. It's a single discipline. I have difficult. See, the thing is, English does not have a lot of good words for this stuff,
Right.
It is a very ancient tradition. Its roots go back. There are some anthropologists who see indications of it going back through pre-Judean times, through 10,000, 15,000, 25,000 years ago. And we know through anthropology and archaeology studies, excuse me, that there was the idea of spirituality as far back as 450,000 years ago, right? Before we were humans, we were burying people. Our ancestors were putting people in the ground with what they thought were sacred elements, their jewelry, their weaponry.
Right.
So they had the concept of there's something going on after the fact, right? After this reality, there's another one. And gematria is one of the, as far as I've been able to study, it is one of the oldest earth traditions, if you will. And it recognizes that this place we call home is one of many. And if you know what you're doing, and if you've studied and if you practice, you can go to the other places, which, people who do spirit travel, astral projection, what's the medium that they're conveying through, that type of thing. And I'm not saying I'm adept at any of this stuff. I don't want people to, begin saying, come over and heal me. No, I've got trouble enough healing myself. Trust me. But
so
that's the basics.
It goes back like further than Göbekli Tepe, right? Because I know that
I would believe so.
Yeah, because studying that, they believe that they found definitely evidence of spirituality and.
Yeah. The Trafer caves in France.
Yes.
Where they how when you recognize how far deep underground,
right,
these pictures are. And if you say, well, that was just an accident, they put them there by accident. Wow, that was an amazing accident.
No kidding.
They had to go like a mile underground to get there. So
and I've read that if you shine light on them in the right way, they're actually animated. So that's even crazier,
Yeah.
That animation.
Yeah, and the fact that they're recognizable. They are recognizable to us today.
Yes.
As what they were then.
Pictures.
Yep. So that to me kind of indicates there I'm not going to say race memory, but there is a conceptual memory going through all of our generations that keeps us aware. I will, this is my personal belief, that modern society does its dangdest to beat it out of us, really. The adolescent section of The Shaman is really about the modern world wanting to deny spirituality, wanting to deny this reality, which is accessible, tappable, usable, because, well, we can't put we can't put it in a bottle. We can't put a meter on it, and correctly or incorrectly, a lot of Western civilization, now a lot of the world civilizations, if you can't make a buck off of it, if you can't sell it on Amazon, we're not interested.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And send me that Amazon link for the pizza oven. So
I
this was
will.
clear
We will.
about
And in
Amazon.
just a couple of minutes, we have to have a word from our sponsors who need to make a buck here. Yeah.
Well, we're the ones that need to make the buck.
Well, they need to make a buck here
Just
to sell their books.
Just stay on the air. No,
That's funny.
I'm a sensitive, and I, started seeing very profound things when I was 7 years old, and my parents consistently told me those things don't exist. And there were times when when I look back, I should have said, well, could you please come in my bedroom and talk to these people that want to speak with me, because they think they're real.
Yeah. Yep.
But, it's really hard then to learn anything or practice anything or do anything if everybody's telling you it's all in your head. You're making this up.
Yes.
And I have a very good imagination. Yes. So it could all be in my head,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, even Einstein said that science without imagination is useless. Science will get you so far, but imagination will get you all the way. And that to me, I mean, let's face it, if Einstein said it, he probably had a few things working for him, right? Maybe,
he had some imagination too.
Yeah, he did that relativity thing. Remember that? That was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So, the whole quote unquote quantum revolution, to recognize there are things which we cannot see or touch, but which are the fabric of creation. Yeah. And I go back to Joni Mitchell. We are all stardust.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
showing your age.
Yo.
All the young listeners are like, who?
Yeah. What? Well, let's take our first break,
and we'll be right back.
And we'll be right back. We've got a lot to talk about, so don't go away.
This is interesting.
Yeah, hang in there.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. Two new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
And we're back.
All together now.
In stereo, yes. You feel like reading now? Would now be a good
Sure.
time? Great.
Happy to. This is the first chapter in the practice section of the book. And it's about the main character, Gio Fortuna, first encountering the woman who he wants to spend the rest of his life with. It's entitled Robin. She sits across from me in German class and is the most beautiful thing I've ever encountered. I've looked back on our galaxy from galaxies not yet discovered, sat on the rings of Saturn and watched comets sail around the sun, waded through nebulas so color-rich human hearts ache at the sight of them, tasted wines no human tongue will ever know, listened to whale songs and mountains sing in voices no human could hear, and nothing matches the woman conjugating Haben 4 rows from me. I want to share so much with her and can't even lower center, relax, breathe in her presence. Grandma and Grandpa made love with a touch, with a smile, with a wink, with a nudge, with the gentlest of kisses, with understanding hugs, with an embrace. And I realized, no, Robin makes lower center breathe the easiest thing in the world. My English paper is due and my typewriter is broken. Does anybody have a typewriter I can borrow for the afternoon? Long blonde hair swirls as she turns green eyes on me. Sure, you can borrow mine. I take her to a college play, Pippin, and dinner as a thank you. We drive to the coast and get caught in the blizzard of 78. Turning around, we go off the road into a ditch. You okay? Yeah. Sorry about that. What are we going to do? I consider. Can you drive a standard? Sure. Good. You drive, I'll push. It's a small car. We're down an incline. She'll never know. You ready? Anytime. Little gas, little clutch. Now. I lift. It is not my talent, not what I do, but I can do most things when there's a need. But she has the car in reverse. You okay? I'm fine. Let's give it another go. 1, 2, 3. I lift. The car skids up and out of the ditch onto the road. You're stronger than you look. Wheaties. You're the first man I've dated who actually listens to me when I talk. I can sing while you talk. Seems impolite. She laughs. I make her laugh. We walk across campus. Every 10, 15 feet, someone says hello. I work part-time at the medical center. Makes it easier to do what I do. You know lots of people. I'm a friendly kind of guy. You know lots of women. I'm not that kind of friendly. How come you know so many women? Because I listen. She studies to be an equestrian. I go with her to the barns. Heavy construction equipment is building an indoor arena close by. Too close for the horses to be comfortable with the pounding of the earth, the rumble of big diesels, the explosion of air hammers, the whine of power tools. They are nervous, jittery. Carl, the barn manager, meets us between the stalls. I wouldn't take anybody out today, Robin. Too much activity. They won't be able to focus. I walk over to one stall, one horse, Black Knight, particularly unhappy with the activity. Carl walks over quickly. Don't go in there. He's not a friendly horse. He'll buck you off and kick you on your way down. I face Carl. He slows, blinks. I open the stall door, walk in, lower, center, relax, breathe. Black Knight snorts, backs away from me, quiets, comes up, sniffs me, nuzzles me. I raise Grandmother Pravarti's peace shield. All the other horses quiet as peace moves out from me. Carl shakes his head. What happened? Robin stares. We walk on the beach. Ocean greets me. I stop, turn to the water, perform waves. How do you do that? Looks like you're dancing with the waves. I don't hear. Gio? The power of the ocean. Geo, moving through my arms, into my body, down my legs, back out to the sea. Geo! She pulls my arm down. Waves crash against rocks. Seawater climbs up sand towards her, begins to form, to shape. An old one. Upset, she interrupted our game. I should have waited until I was alone. I turn her to face me, turn us both so I protect her from the water, my back to the waves, her in my arms. She looks over my shoulder. What the? I ask ocean's forgiveness. Let it know. We will continue later. Waves form, recede from our feet. Later. Did you hear that? Hear what? She wakes as I return, slowly, not to wake her, a mist taking human shape, becoming flesh as her eyes clear from sleep. She rises, as do I. Everything okay? She stares at me, reaches out and touches me. Robin? I thought, what? Nothing. Strange dreams. You okay? She rests her head back down but keeps one hand on me. Strange dreams. I make cheese omelets, fluffy and light. She walks into the kitchen, her bathrobe revealing curves I will spend my life exploring. Coffee's done. You know I don't drink coffee. I hand her a mug. That's why I made you hot chocolate. What's that smell? I open the oven door. Homemade cinnamon rolls. When did you have time to make these? I made the dough last night, let it rise, finished them early this morning, set the oven to bake. I want to ask you a question. Okay. I don't want you to lie to me. I never have. What do you do? I want to learn it. Physics? Don't make fun of me. She sits at the table and looks up at me. The window frames her in morning light. What do you think I do? Do you think I'm blind or stupid? I watch you. Yes, you do. What do you see? I see you at peace, rest. And when I'm with you, I feel it too. And you know where the police are, speed traps, and all the animals in the barn quiet when you're there. And I nod, I sit, take her hands in mine. With her, I am complete. You don't know what you're asking, princess. I know I love you. I know I'm afraid sometimes. You can forget me, meet someone else. After a while, it'll be like I didn't exist. She sneers. Yeah, right. She looks out the window. Could you forget me? Forget you? No. Wait to meet you again? I do a foolish thing. I show her this universe dying, a new one forming, suns created, worlds coming into existence, life forming. 15 billion years is not too long to wait to fall in love again. I don't want to wait. Will you teach me? I sing Judy Collins' Since You Asked. What I'll give you since you've asked is all my time together. Take the rugged sunny days, the warm and rocky weather. She finishes. This is what I ask you for. Nothing more. That's it.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's powerful.
Thank you. I like to think I'm good at it, or at least mediocre.
No, you're good.
No, that was very powerful. And I'm sure that the people who didn't get the Inheritors probably haven't read a lot of science fiction then, you know?
Well, it was kind of interesting. One-star review from another author whose work I've never read. The first line of her review was, "This is an epic book of great epicness." And honest to God, I thought to myself, that's an author writing that? Wow, this is going to be good. I knew this was going to be good. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. And
in their wording.
She, in her review, she pointed out an error in the story. And she was right. There was an error. And I went, thank you. I contacted her. I said, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's just, good catch. And I don't know how she took that because I never heard back from her, but, when somebody's correct, they're correct. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give them credit. And it's an opinion, people. I'm not wounded by this. Tell me I don't know how to write. Tell me my writing sucks. That bothers me. I want to know how to improve. Tell me you didn't like the story. You didn't get it. Yeah, well, life goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody has different tastes and, different things that they like to read. But if you do make a mistake, we do want to be corrected.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah.
That's the way we grow.
The great thing about print on demand is you can put out what you believe is a genuinely finished product, and someone comes back to you and says, I saw these typos, I saw these, whatevers. Thank you. And boom, within 2 days, it's out there again, all fixed. It's a wonderful world we live in.
And there's a difference between constructive criticism, which I think everyone needs, and just being smarmy, just, you feeling less than, so you're trying to make somebody else feel less than. Nobody needs that.
Yeah.
No one needs that.
It's another interesting review, if you don't mind my sharing these things.
No.
On the Inheritors, the Inheritors has got a lot of philosophical arguments in it, because basically what happens is Lucifer and the Archangel Michael are having conversations between themselves and with this incredibly gifted young man, who happens to be able to see them. And the discussions, I won't call them arguments, but the discussions are intensely philosophical. I've had my 5-star reviews. It's a 5-star review or 1-star review. The 5-star reviews, somebody actually wrote, Mensa matters. Not that I'm a member of Mensa, but they wrote an intelligent book written for intelligent readers by an intelligent author. One of the 1-star reviews was, I think the author wants to show off how smart he is, but he's really not.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's helpful review.
Oh, that's now see, people. That is not constructive criticism.
No, that's not the way to do it.
But let's, in my mind, that was a very revealing review
about him.
Well, about them, yeah, but also it made me go, that whole area is not my audience. Well, people who like that individual's work are never going to like mine.
Right.
My plots are not linear. They're very convoluted. I have, Cecil B. DeMille characters all over the place. There's 1,000 people involved in my stories, So I'm talking too much. I apologize.
You're not talking
this
too
is
much.
What you're supposed to do.
Yes, you're on here to talk. It's a podcast. But that I remember one time we got a review that said, what did he say? He said,
too many cliches.
Oh, yes, this book has too many cliches and the authors are funny when they're not trying to be. So it's like, well, there's a smoking gun on the cover of the book. So cliche number 1, we put it on the cover. And who knows how dare you say that we're being funny without meaning to? We put a lot of sarcasm in there that we meant to be funny.
Yes.
So that person,
I was reading a book by
that person wasn't smart enough to realize it was funny.
Well, I was reading a book by I believe the author's name is Sassy Green, and it's the Billionaire Romance Club, I think is the series. And I don't read romance. It was one of those books where you're given it, please review. Okay, sure. And I got to tell you, every romance trope, cliche was in that book. However, they really served the story. They kept the story going, So when I wrote my review of the book, I wrote, this book had my breasts, if I had them, heaving. And it made me thick in the crotch, and my desire grew. And the author got back. Oh, that was a great review. I got to use that on my book covers. Go for it. But it was a great read. It was even if you're not a romance reader, it was a great read. Hysterical. I thought it was a gem. 5 stars.
Yeah. I've read some romance that are really funny. They're tongue in cheek. Yeah. And I just really, enjoy it. And I'll be reading it and I'm thinking, I wonder how many people don't really get the point of this, that this is really, really laugh out loud funny, you know?
Yes.
And you're just having a great time.
Yeah, really. You know, you want to be around that person when they're actually composing that novel, because they're sitting there going, "Oh yeah, this is good. Oh yeah, you got to put that in. Oh yeah, you know, where's my dictionary of tropes?
And they're
Yeah, that was
probably
going in."
laughing. I mean, we were laughing when we wrote some of this stuff. It made us laugh.
Yes.
And so it's like, yeah, well, those who can get it. And that's what it is with the inheritors, the people that get it. And you can't be offended by everything. You know, you shouldn't be offended, really, because everybody has a point of view. Everybody has a path they have to walk.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
Yeah.
We're still learning.
Yeah.
We're not young. We're still learning new things all the time.
Yes.
It's good to learn.
Thank
it's good
goodness
to expand
too,
your universe.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I often say to people, if I'm not learning, I'm dying. You put me in the ground or wherever. You know, Susan, wife, partner, and princess, and I, we still take classes. We still study. We don't travel as much as we used to. Maybe now that COVID's over, maybe get up more. But you know, I have 5 or 6 books going all the time. You know, maybe 2 of them are for pure pleasure reading, and the other 3 or 4 are research books, study books, you know, wilderness survival books, stuff like that. I'm reading a book on police techniques for the novel I'm working on now. If you're not studying, I don't know. If you're not learning, what's the point, really? You know, learn more about your partner, right? Stuff that you never, you know, you've been with, like you folks said, you've been together 47 years. We're going on 44
Tomorrow.
years. Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, go for it. But there's still new stuff. She still surprises me. So great, love it. That's what it's about.
Surprises me.
Yeah.
I think that probably surprised you.
I'm always telling him he deserves a medal for putting up with me for 47 years, because I know I'm a lot. So I'm a lot. He doesn't think so. He doesn't think I'm too much. I know I'm too much, but that's okay. But yeah, we always learn from our kids, you know.
Yes.
We would listen to our kids when they were growing up, and a lot of people thought we were crazy for sitting down and listening to a 16-year-old and their point of view, and after talking with them saying, I see where you're coming from. I get that. You know, yeah, you can do that. And people are like,
yep.
Oh. I had somebody tell me once, this was my 6th child, who has always been a very independent, knows who she is, knows her boundaries, and doesn't mind telling you person. Okay. And I love that. And I love the feistier our kids were, the happier I was. And we had some feisty kids. And she knew what she wanted to wear when she was 2. And what do I care what she wears? So I would let her wear what she wanted to wear. And she still does, by the way, and she's 40. But this one person came to me and she said, you know, you really have to take control of your child and not let them go out looking like that, because that's going to hurt. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. You have how many children? 1. Okay.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that poor kid.
Well, we're running up on our last break here. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. And when we come back, we'll do our book giveaway, tell people where to reach you, and talk about what your future is.
There's a crime
Very good.
novel coming out.
That's what I've
Some
heard.
kind. Yeah,
that's the word on the
the
street.
that's the rumor.
That's the word on the street.
Yes.
Okay, so hang in there, folks. Be right back.
We'll be right back.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
All right. First of all, let's tell people where they can find you. Website, Joseph Carrabis. I said it right? .com. JOSEPHCARRABIS.com. That's for all of you who are listening and not watching the video. And his email, where you can email him. Oh, and I should say that on his website, you can find all of his other social media outlets and how to reach him and find him. Find his books on Amazon and get links and all that good stuff.
Track him down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And his email is joseph@nlb.pub. So it's joseph@nib.pub. NLB.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said I. So.
At NL. Oh, did I?
Yeah, that time.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's not right. You won't find him there.
You won't find him there.
NLB.
So the book giveaway. The book giveaway is that the first three people to email joseph@nlb.pub will win an ebook copy of an ebook of choice of any one of Joseph's books. He'll be happy to send them to you. Now, even if you're listening to this 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from when this airs, go ahead and shoot him an email. Or maybe they haven't been given away. Maybe you'll luck out and he'll be happy to accommodate you and at least start a conversation with you. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can peruse all of his books on his website and see what he has to offer.
Right. So go ahead and enter, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of hinted on what's on the horizon for you at this point with the police situation.
Research.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what's coming up in the Carrabis world?
The next book out is going to be Search, which is it's the main character from The Shaman, Geo. And there's one chapter in The Shaman in the adolescence section entitled Search. And that chapter in the book is about three and a half pages long. But it is actually based on something that actually occurred, not with Geo Fortuna, but something I did a lot of research on, a triple murder that occurred in Maine a long time ago by most people's standards when we were kids. So I thought this would be a really fascinating thing if at this point in time in the adolescent section, Geo does not know what's going on in his life, has no clue what he really is about, and is terrified, basically, of what's happening. All of a sudden, he's put into a situation where to save people's lives, he has to do what he knows how to do, what he's been trained to do. It's required of him. But there's a price. He's very much in love with someone he's met. They're very much in love with each other. However, every time he does something which is metaphysical, if you will, she gets like, what the heck did you just do? What is that? You know that you just grew fangs? What's going on? So he has to make a very tough decision. Does he get to be Superman, but have to hide his existence from Lois Lane? Or does he get to be with Lois Lane and put the super suit in the closet? You know, he can't have it both ways because she is not prepared to deal with someone like that. And there's a point in Search where he basically says to her, you want a life of quiet, of peace, of confidence, of knowing what's going on, of knowing where your husband is all the time. I can't give you that. I may be lying in bed next to you, but I will be cold and you'll think I'm dead because I'm actually somewhere else. And, you know, it's a very difficult decision for him to make, but he realizes I must make this decision. I must decide, you know, what is the best thing for me, for her. And it's basically the entire book is about him making this decision. And through the vector of finding the people who've been murdered, or finding the culprits, the perpetrators. So that's the next one coming out. And then in March of next year is Tag, which is, it is, I would call it a medieval murder mystery because it takes place in 10th century Eastern Europe, right during the time of the Crusades. The Crusades are over. Basically, they're finished, or between the Crusades. And the Muslims are coming into Europe, but not through the southern route. They're coming into the northern route. And coming into the northern route, they're not hostile. They're merchants. They don't want to cause a problem. They know about this Roman Catholic Church, which is doing some really weird stuff, but we don't care about that. We want to know, would you like these spices, basically? And if you have horses, that's even better because we'll trade you spices for horses, whatever. And they're very gracious, kind, loving people who actually are integral to the plot. So there's that. And then the book after that, excuse me, which will be in summer of next year, is the Book of the Wounded Healers, which that book had a very fascinating derivation. In a previous life, basically the 1990s, I was a therapist, psychotherapist, and I would attend conferences to study, basically to learn more and more skills, develop more skills. And I had this idea for a novel, but it wasn't gelling. I knew it took place in New York City, but yeah, and I knew there were kind of like aliens, but not really aliens. I knew. So I'm listening to the speaker, the person on the stage, and someone asked them, are people who get into this profession themselves healed? Because that's a big problem in the therapeutic community. People who are improperly trained try to heal themselves by healing others, and it never works out. because the minute you encounter someone who's got an issue that you have not dealt with in your life, you either have to destroy them or, it's transference and it's really not good. But anyway, so the speaker said, oh, this industry is just overcrowded with wounded healers. And I went, the book of the wounded healers. Got back to my hotel room and I'm just writing. The heck with the rest of the conference. I am writing notes. I've got the book. Oh, I've got the outline. I've got everything down. And as I said, that was from the 1990s. I got involved in industry, started a business. Don't ever do that. Don't ever start a business and have it get successful. Worst thing that can happen. Anyway, our business became successful and we closed it in 2016. And Susan said, go back to your writing. I've never seen you happier than when you're writing your stories. So I began digging out stuff. And the Book of the Wounded Healers was all here in notes, and I went, time for this puppy to come to life.
And you have to just reassemble.
And who knows what's beyond that? Yeah, basically. Fortunately, my stories tend to be very character driven. They're not tour of wonder stories. They got in the flying car and they went to Venus. So all I really need to do is kind of update the technology, because the technology in the book is ancillary. If you used a phone, you used a phone. Back then, the phone was attached to a cord. Now it's in your pocket.
So is your computer.
They used to use.
That's right.
Exactly. They used to use faxes. Now they use email. Take your pick. So fortunately, my books are not difficult to bring up to modern concepts,
right.
because they're character driven, and people haven't changed a whole heck of a lot.
No. People are definitely people.
Yeah.
Not much hope in that.
No. We're all, and people everywhere are the same. So,
Yeah.
whether they're Catholics in Rome or they're Muslims or whatever. Yeah. Whatever your particular cup of tea is, we all want the same thing, basically, and we all have the same moments of brilliance and moments of stupidity and all the whole bag.
Yeah.
You want to say a little bit about your publishing road, because you kind of started out, several years ago with your publishing, and things have been changing over the last few years.
Oh yeah.
Can you give us any insights into what you've run into problem-wise, or
boy,
plus side? Plus side would be fine too.
Back in 2016, I self-published the original version of Empty Sky, which thank God I've rewritten greatly, and Tales Told Around Celestial Campfires, which is an anthology of stuff which appeared in print in 1970 through 1990s. And I did that just to see if people were interested in what I wrote. And I got people who showed an interest. Okay, let's try to put some more stuff out. But knowing that there were people who were interested, I decided to go for a publisher. Well, the publishing industry, and I was a very successful author back in the 1980s, but trade technical, not fiction, trade technical. But the publishing industry has changed greatly. And if you're a new and or unknown author with minimal social following, it's pretty difficult to get placed, because agents and publishing houses now, they want to know, how marketable is this? What is the audience for this? Publishing houses now are part of a media empire. Excuse me. So we can do a book, we can do a video game, we can do a arcade game, we can do a movie, we can do this, we can do that. You say, I'll put it in there. And I was unprepared for that. So, okay, we're going to go find an agent. We're going to go find a publisher. The first publisher I approached, or who approached me, was based in Canada. And because I had a business background, I said, I'd like to talk with you on, Zoom or whatever, Skype. okay, we have to, sure. And the guy just was not professional at all. He did not impress me in the least. I'm asking him very direct business questions. He's being evasive. And this was about the augmented man. And he finally said, he finally said, "You're going to be real sorry if you don't let me publish that book." And I went, "Okay, thank you. I appreciate that input. Bye."
Wow.
Yeah. The next publishing house that showed an interest.
Nice approach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The next publishing house I approached, or who approached me, they looked really good. They did. They had a good track record. They have a very successful marketing department. And I was really all set to go. They gave me a 5-book deal. I went, okay, this can't hurt. This is good. So then I sent them the first manuscript, and they had difficulty with it. There's a scene. This was also the Augmented Man. There's a scene where a major is looking at a lieutenant, and he's thinking how well the man's dress uniform fits him, how well it's styled, and the good shoulders, the broad shoulders, looks like an ex-weightlifter, so on and so forth, and handsome, clean cut. And the editor got back to me and said, "Is this a gay scene?"
What?
What? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what? There was another, and one scene takes place in a biker bar. So I mentioned motorcycle mamas. The editor goes, "What's a motorcycle mama? I have no idea what that is." And I actually finally said, "This book is science fiction military thriller. How many military science fiction thrillers have you edited?" This is my first one. I contacted the editor-in-chief. "Can we find somebody else?" She said, "I'll do it. I'll take it on." I said, "Okay, good." So fine, I got the editor-in-chief. They had neglected to show me the house style book. And their house style book was, there are no colons, no semicolons. There are only dashes. And I come from a writing training where different punctuation is indicative of different type. Yeah, exactly. So she said to me, can you go through it and take out all the ones that you think are kind of iffy? I went, yeah, okay. So that was 2 12-hour days over a weekend. And I sent it in, and she said, "Well, no, the publisher said it's all going to have to be dashes." So I went, "Thanks, tear up the contract. This ain't going to happen." The next publishing house lied to me. They lied. They didn't fulfill their contract. Horror story, folks. They, according to my attorney, they could have cost me up to $300,000 because they did not fulfill the contract properly. They gave away the rights to without anyway, goody. And there are people who have a lot of success with them, so good for them. Then I had a publisher, Empty Sky was picked up by a publisher who they wanted a 10-year lock on the book.
Wow.
And they were offering an advance. But I said, can you show me some of your information, your business information? Here are our authors. Here are the books we've done, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, well, I contacted the authors. None of the authors heard of this publisher.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
We've got some real serious things going on here.
Hey, Louise.
One more publisher. Yeah, I managed to find them. Folks, I got them out of the way for you. I found them.
What a bumpy road you've been on.
One more publisher.
Right?
Yeah, who we got along really well. They discovered me. They found some of my short stories. I really liked them. Do you have a book in you? Sure. And yeah, we want to publish this. We want to publish that. We want to publish this. They're a small house. So, we were very fortunate. We had some extra cash. And I said, do you want me to help you with this? Do you want me to help you with the marketing budget? So I'm happy to do that because you seem like good people. You're starting out, or you weren't starting out. You've been in business for a while. But, I realize how difficult it is with a publishing industry. And nothing happened. And I offered to, we offered to finance them, to actually give them a cash infusion monthly to help them get going, to be stable, to meet their budgets. And didn't hear from them for 9 months. So I contacted some of the other authors in their stable. They hadn't heard from them for 9 months.
Whoa.
What the heck is going on? And it turns out, again, going back to my background in psychotherapeutics, this was a British-based company. The individual demonstrated stuff which to me was signaling bipolar, manic depressive bipolar disorder. But I'm unfamiliar with British. I'm unfamiliar with their mannerisms, their publishing methods. Publishing is publishing, but how they're doing stuff, their language, the way they concern themselves with things. So I was going to give them a lot of leeway. I was going to learn as I went. And yeah, I did. Sad to say that publishing house is now really folding. They haven't been able to pay royalties to any of their authors for years. Very sad. So now we're in the present day.
Yes.
And I got together with a bunch of people who I knew from business, and I said, I want to start a publishing house. And the first question was, are you going to be in charge of it? I went, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, we'll invest. We'll do that. Okay. So then I contacted a bunch of authors that I knew and respected and said, I'm interested in doing this. I could use your help. Do you want us to give you manuscripts? God, no. No. I want to get good editing team. I want to get a good artist, good graphics people together. The production aspect, the writing and production aspect of publishing a book is pretty straightforward these days. Anybody with a phone, anybody with an iPhone, an Android can do it. It's not a big deal. Marketing is the dead zone.
Yep.
And I said to people, give us a couple of years. Any new business, you're going to take a couple of years to get it going. I said, give me a couple of years. I'm going to publish my books because I know that they're good and I know when they're not good. So I'm going to publish my books and I'm going to experiment for the next 2 years trying to learn how to successfully market. And when I can successfully market, then I'll publish. Then we're going to look at your stuff. But I do not want you to give me your stuff now because it'll go into limbo. I can't guarantee it. I want you to send it out. Find a mainstream publisher who'll take it. And if in 2 years you can't, come on back. We'll talk. So we had our first release in January of this year. We've been making more money ever since, more money every month. Still not breaking even. We're still not profitable. But anybody who's run a business knows, if you can make a profit in 6 months, something's wrong. You're looking for a big downfall down the road. Usually 2.5. The U.S. government gives you 5 years before you have to show a profit. I don't want to go that far. I don't feel like funding this thing that far out. But it is learning, for all the other authors out there, all the indie authors. When people come to you with, we can do this, we can do that. Oh my God, look at what we can do, blah, blah, blah. really do the research, folks. In business, it's called due diligence. Really explore, ask for validation. When people say, well, we have all these great, all these, people who love our stuff. Wonderful. I want to talk to the people who think you're an idiot. Because if the things that didn't work for them are anything like my stuff, then I'm not a good fit for you. Right. I want to learn where the failure points were. When I was in business, when we were in business together, that was the thing. Companies would hire us and, well, we were doing this and we're doing this and we've been successful. Great. I want to know where the failures are so we don't repeat them. Oh, really? Yeah, you've been successful there. I want to know what failed so we can avoid those and we'll be more successful. So I do that with marketing. And again, I've been able to find just about every failed marketing strategy on the planet. It's been amazing.
Very good. There's probably more.
I'm sure there are. I'm trying to avoid them, but
wow.
Well, Paul Hollis is an author that's often in our audience. Mm-hmm. And he was saying the other day that when he started writing and we started writing in indie publishing on Amazon years ago, there were 1 million book titles. And today there are 32 million book titles. So,
yeah,
and climbing by the day. And so really marketing is a difficult thing and it's a long road.
Because they're not doing it for you. That's for sure.
No. And finding what is that magic word, and it's probably different for different genres.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I mean, the romance authors, I know they have it made, man. They know what they're doing. They go out and they do their book signings and they have conventions around romance and then military also is another big sell. Yeah. They have a built-in audience that wants to read the books. And if it's authentic military written by a military person, they'll buy it.
Yes.
And, so there's different niches and it's not an easy solve.
No, you have to really find your market. You have, and it can be a very slim market, but there may be 30,000 readers in that very slim market out of 7 billion.
You don't need any more than that. There you go.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good.
That's right.
That'll pay for me to have dinner tonight. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, that'll put dog food in the bowl. Right? Yes.
As one of our friends said, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I was in a writing group and they were talking about Amazon, they sell so much product. And I went, no, Amazon does not sell product. Amazon sells advertising. Mm-hmm. Amazon's revenue comes from advertising products that are sold on their site.
That's exactly right.
That's right. Yeah. They don't sell books. They don't sell pizza ovens. They sell the ad to that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they're like,
that's exactly what they sell.
Although they do take a chunk out of our profit, out of our books.
Yeah. Yes.
But they don't produce anything.
Right. They don't produce anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're a distributor.
Yeah. And as again, anybody who's been in business knows, the distribution channel is where the money is. Mm-hmm. There is more money in logistics, getting the product to the market, to the consumer, than there is in producing and selling the product.
Right.
The news anchor on our local news channel this morning said, well, when I want a cupcake, I use Uber Eats. She has Uber Eats bring her one cupcake. Now, what do you think costs more, the cupcake or the drive over to your house?
Right.
Yeah, really.
Are you kidding?
I'm like,
oh boy.
Well, it's your money. You spend it how you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good for you, kid. Yeah. Go for it.
Well, this has been great. Joseph, getting back together again with you, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again maybe next year when you've got a couple more new books coming out, and
I would love to.
Yeah,
Which will be soon.
Yeah, it will be soon. This is already November, coming up on November. So
March.
Well, this is November.
March will be his next book.
This is mid-November. We're in mid-November right now. Yeah. So
he loves time travel.
It's time travel. Yes.
It's good. It's good.
It is good.
So we're going to move you over to the side here, and thank you very much for joining us. Hang around until we come back to you.
Yeah.
And let's see. I want to remind everybody next Wednesday, November 22nd, is Dr. Amara Hall. It's a pre-recorded new episode, but it looks like she's going to be a very, very good episode. And stick around for Voice of Indie podcast immediately following our show. And we're going to run that little blurb to show you how to get over there. So until next time.
That's all, folks.
Bye.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.